Well, welcome back, everyone. You know, if you have a sweet tooth, you might not have to turn very far, maybe just your own backyard. And here to talk about that is Dan Hodges from Johnny Appleseed. Welcome, Dan.
I love being here, and this is one of my favorite programs that we do. So we're working on doing a 4th grade field trip right now, all about maple syruping. And this is, in my opinion, a great marriage of natural and cultural history, because in order to get maple syrup, which is a regional thing. This is where it's made, here in Ohio, a few surrounding states, a little bit into Canada. This is where maple syrup comes from. In order to have that, you need to have the maple tree. That's the natural history. And then how we've done that over the years, that's the cultural history part, right? So it's a great marriage of, you have to start with your maple. A sugar maple actually is the best, although you could do it with some other maple trees. Sugar maple has the highest sugar content. It's got the longest season. So once you have your tree, and it's big enough, you got to make sure it's big enough, then you can wait for the right season. And believe it or not, now is the right season. So right here at the end of winter, as things start to thaw, hopefully they thaw soon here, but as things start to thaw, what's happening inside the tree, when it freezes, it fills with sap. When it thaws, that sap wants to go somewhere. So specific to maple trees and a couple others, it builds pressure inside of the tree. So then what we do is we come along and put a little, what we call a spile in there. Let me show you this spile. So here we have kind of an example of spiles over the years. This is that cultural part where you have wooden spiles, rolled tin, cast metal, even plastic spiles that a lot of people use nowadays. So this is like a little straw. You put it in the side of a tree, drill a hole first, I suppose, and then you can access that the sap, which is under pressure. This is what the sap looks like, Chris.
Looks like water.
It just looks like water. It tastes like water too, but we've had this in a jar for a little while. Don't drink it. But this is 97% water, maybe 3% sugar, and that's if you got a good sugar maple on a good year. So the trick for maple syruping is getting all the water out of here and concentrating the sugar behind. So we've got a bucket over there. Actually, take a peek inside of that thing, because there's a solid block of ice. That's what we've had. That's what we've had hanging on the tree, collecting some of that sap. And then you could take the ice and discard it. That's usually frozen water, right? And the sugar's left behind, unless it's a solid block. We'll wait till it thaws a little bit. But you can throw that ice away. That'll concentrate your solution. Or you could boil it. So I've got one of our cast iron pots here. That's because the Native Americans have been doing this for a long time, and they would have birch bark baskets and clay pots and wooden troughs. They would use hot rocks, and they would a variety of really creative ways to boil it. When European settlers came, they brought metal with them, and that's something that kind of made the process a little bit easier, a little more efficient. And so pots like this really kind of turned up the heat, literally. But nowadays we often use great big pans called evaporators, and all you're trying to do is get rid of the water. So when you boil it, the steam comes off and you're concentrating the solution left behind. Eventually, you'll reach a concentration of 67%. That's what we have syrup. It doesn't crystallize and it doesn't spoil. So that's the kind of the magic number there. And actually, I love these colors here. This is early season syrup. This is late season syrup. So the color comes from the tree. Kind of cool. And I brought a little taste for you.
All right.
So here, this is how we give it to the kids sometimes.
Did you make this?
No. Actually, no. We did buy this. Although sometimes the park makes our little syrup. So then you have a little shot.
Right,
cheers to you. You can eat that later, too.
It's delicious.
Oh, it's great. Maple syrup is fantastic. Doesn't have corn syrup, added flavoring. So, like, this is table syrup. And there's no maple syrup in here.
I was going to say, no maple.
It's corn syrup and flavoring chemicals, preservatives, that sort of thing. When you take maple syrup, it's just what you get from the tree. Minus the water. That's it. All they did was take the water out.
All natural.
So pure maple syrup. If you keep boiling it, remove some of that water, you can actually get down to maple sugar. This is my favorite. We give this to the kids. We tell them, use your cleanest dirty hand. If it's not clean now, it'll be clean after you lick it. It's great. And, you know, we're not the only things that love maple sap. That's what we get out of the tree. I got a woodpecker here, a hummingbird. You might think, what's going on here? That woodpecker's putting holes in the tree. The hummingbird's coming by and drinking some of the sap. So it's really just an amazing sort of a resource that we have right here in our backyards, in your backyard probably.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is put a little hole in there to collect that sap. And then boil it down, and you can have maple sugar too, maple syrup. Yeah. It's really kind of a cool thing to have it in our own backyard.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Glad to be here.
All right, don't go away because we have more when we return.